Welcome to Cruise News, your daily update on everything happening at sea. Visit cruisenews.io to see today's stories and sign up for email alerts.
It is great to be back. We have a really packed show today. It feels like we're looking at the whole industry in miniature, really.
There really are. We've got three stories that hit three totally different parts of the business.
Yeah, we're starting with, massive scale in Alaska, then we're jumping to a big strategic move on the Gulf Coast, and then something really high-tech in the expedition world.
We're definitely covering the full spectrum. We're going to kick things off with Royal Caribbean International, who have finalized this huge four-ship lineup for Alaska in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're heading south to talk about Carnival Cruise Line. They're making a major, and I mean year-round, commitment to Mobile, Alabama.
Which is a huge deal for that port.
Absolutely. And then finally, we are going to geek out a little bit on some new tech from Aurora Expeditions that's tackling a problem most of us don't even think about: microscopic pollution.
That last one is fascinating. It's all about that invisible impact of cruising. But you're right, we have to start with the heavy metal. Royal Caribbean is making a serious play for the last frontier.
They absolutely are. So let's unpack this. The battle for Alaska is always heating up, but for summer 2027, Royal Caribbean's announced their deployment, and it is 4 ships.
Right.
You've got Anthem of the Seas, Quantum of the Seas, Serenade of the Seas, and Voyager of the Seas.
And just to give you some context on that, that is a massive amount of capacity. You combine those 4, you're looking at, what, over 13,000 guests a week.
It's a small town, basically.
It is. It's a small town moving through the fjords every single week. But what's interesting to me isn't just the sheer number, it's the specific mix of ships they're using.
Right, because for a lot of people, a ship is a ship. But in Alaska, the actual hardware, it really shapes the experience, doesn't it?
Oh, it dictates everything. It dictates your route, what you see, even which ports you can physically get into. And they're using 3 different classes of ships here, really targeting 3 different kinds of travelers.
Okay, so let's start with the biggest beast of the bunch, Voyager of the Seas.
Yeah, Voyager. She's a Voyager-class ship, so she comes in at over 138,000 gross tons.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, that's not weight, it's a measure of internal volume. So it's a massive ship.
It's the one with the Royal Promenade, the ice skating rink, all that stuff.
Exactly. It's the resort at sea experience. So she'll be sailing 7-night round trips out of Seattle. But here's the trade-off with a ship that big.
Okay.
To make that 7-day loop on time, these huge ships, they often have to sail on the west side of Vancouver Island, in the open ocean.
Meaning you're not in the famous Inside Passage the whole time.
Correct. You spend a good chunk of time in the Pacific. It's still beautiful, of course, but you're not seeing trees and, maybe a bear on the shoreline 24/7. Voyager is perfect for families who want the ship to be the destination as much as the glaciers.
Right. And she's hitting the classic Ports Juneau, Skagway, Endicott arm.
Yep. Now, if Voyager is the floating resort, then Serenade of the Seas is kind of the classic explorer ship.
She's a Radiance-class ship, right? Much smaller.
Much smaller. And among cruise fans, this class is often seen as one of the best for Alaska. They were built with just acres and acres of glass. We're talking glass elevators facing the ocean, floor-to-ceiling windows everywhere.
And the key thing is, she's sailing round trip from Vancouver.
That's it. That's the whole ball game.
What?
Because she's smaller and leaving from Vancouver, she can navigate the true Inside Passage, the narrow winding part, much more easily. If your absolute priority is just scenery, 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 the smaller ship out of Vancouver is the way to go.
So Seattle for the onboard bells and whistles, Vancouver for total immersion. But then you've got the Quantum-class ships, Quantum and Anthem. They seem to be trying to do both.
The Quantum class is a really interesting design. They were built for cold weather cruising, so they have features like the North Star.
I love the North Star. That glass capsule on the big robot arm.
Yeah. It lifts you, 300 feet over the ocean? And in the Caribbean, that's a fun gimmick. In Alaska, it's a total game changer. Imagine being suspended over the side of the ship next to a glacier. You can't get that view anywhere else.
So Quantum is doing the Seattle run, bringing that high-tech flair to that itinerary.
Right. For the adventure crowd that wants the skydiving simulator in the glaciers. But Anthem of the Seas is doing something totally different. She's running what they call open jaw sailings.
Okay, so let's break that down. What does open jaw mean, and why should someone booking a cruise carry?
It's just a fancy term for a one-way voyage. You get on the ship in, say, Vancouver, and you get off in Seward, Alaska. Or you do it the other way around.
A bit more complicated for flights, I guess.
A little, yeah, you have to book one-way flights. But the payoff is huge. A round-trip cruise spends half its time just going back to where it started,
So the one-way trip lets you push further north.
much further. It lets Anthem get all the way up to the Hubbard Glacier, really deep into the Gulf of Alaska. And the big news here is that Royal Caribbean is pairing Anthem with their big land tours.
The cruise tours.
Exactly. Because you end your cruise in Seward, you are physically connected to Alaska's road and rail system. You can step off the ship and onto a glass-domed train headed for Denali National Park.
And that's a big deal, putting one of their newest, fanciest ships on that kind of itinerary.
It is. It shows they're going after that bucket list traveler who wants the best ship and the full interior land experience.
It really is all about matching the right ship to what you want out of the vacation.
Yeah.
And just a quick note for anyone listening, these sailings are live now. They opened up late last year, so the inventory's out there.
And Alaska inventory is different. Those prime cabins, like the aft-facing balconies, they can sell out a year and a half in advance.
Good to know. Okay, let's trade the glaciers for the Gulf Coast. Our next story takes us to Mobile, Alabama, where Carnival Cruise Line is making a really big move.
Yeah, this is a major development for the whole drive-to market. Mobile has had ships seasonally for a while. A ship comes through the winter, leaves for the summer.
On again, off again.
Exactly. But starting in May 2027, Carnival is bringing the Carnival Valor to Mobile for year-round service. Continuous.
And it's not just a schedule change, it's a hardware upgrade too, right?
It is. They're swapping out the Carnival Spirit for the Carnival Valor, which is a larger Conquest-class ship. It holds more people. By parking a bigger ship there for 12 months a year, Carnival is showing huge confidence in that market.
Yeah, I saw the quote from Christine Duffy, Carnival's president. She called it a big win for guests who love cruising from home. And I think we sometimes forget how big a deal the convenience factor is.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. If you're a family of 4 in Nashville or Atlanta, flying everyone to Miami can add $1,000, maybe $2,000 to your vacation.
Also, it's the stress.
Right. Driving to Mobile might cost you a tank of gas. That's real savings that can go right back into your vacation.
And the local impact is huge. We saw quotes from residents who are just thrilled. A year-round ship means steady business for hotels and restaurants, not just seasonal bumps.
For sure. But the thing that really stood out to me was the itineraries. Most of the time, the Valor will be doing, the standard 6 to 8 night runs to the Bahamas.
The bread and butter, hitting Celebration Key, Half Moon Cay.
Yep. But they are also mixing in some of their Carnival Journeys sailings.
I saw that. And that's their brand for the longer, more exotic trips. It seems really unusual to see those out of a smaller port like Mobile.
It is super rare. They've got 2 14-day voyages scheduled, one in September 2027 and another in January 2028.
And that September one is a monster. It goes to Ocho Rios, Cartagena in Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Cozumel, and the ABC Islands.
It's basically a grand tour of the entire Caribbean, and it's a really smart strategic move. September is, hurricane season, kids are back in school.
Demand is soft.
Right. So by offering a unique bucket list itinerary like this, they attract a whole different crowd: retirees, empty nesters, people who have 2 weeks to spare and love the convenience of driving to the port.
It keeps the ship full. Instead of sailing half empty on a short Bahamas cruise, they fill it with people paying more to go to Panama.
Precisely. It's just very, very smart scheduling.
Speaking of specialized experiences,
Yeah.
let's pivot to our last story. This one's a little more technical, but it's so important for where the industry is heading. We're talking about Aurora Expeditions and their new ship, the Douglas Mawson.
Yeah, this is a story about responsibility, really. The Douglas Mawson is getting ready for its first Antarctic season later this year. But the big news isn't what's on the pool deck, it's what's happening in the laundry room.
The laundry room? We don't usually cover appliances on the show.
We don't, but this one really matters. Okay, so think about what you wear on a cruise to Antarctica. It's all synthetic stuff fleece, polyester, performance fabric.
It's the polar uniform.
It is. The problem is when you wash those clothes, they shed these tiny microscopic plastic threads. They're called microfibers.
And those just go out into the ocean.
With a standard system, yeah. The ship's gray water filters are designed to catch bigger stuff. Sasha Book from Aurora said a single load of laundry can release hundreds of thousands of these fibers, and they can pass right through and get discharged.
Which, in a place like Antarctica, is just Devastating.
It's awful. There's a polar sailor, Lisa Blair, who has found these microplastics everywhere, even in the most remote waters. They get eaten by plankton, then krill, then whales. It gets right into the food chain from the very bottom.
So Aurora is putting in special filters on the Douglas Mawson to stop this.
They are. They're partnering with a company called the Cleaner Seas Group to install these Indicon filters. They claim they can capture up to 99% of the microfibers. But here's the really important part. It's a closed-loop system.
What does that mean, closed loop?
It means they don't just trap the fibers and then throw the filter in a landfill. That just moves the problem. They've set up a system to collect the used filter cartridges, take them to a special facility, they're planning one in New Zealand, and have the plastic waste properly recycled.
So the plastic never actually enters the environment at any stage.
Correct. They're actually managing the pollutant, not just, hiding it somewhere else. It's a really high bar for sustainability.
And the ship is also becoming a research tool for navigation, too.
Yeah, this is a separate partnership with a group called Countercurrent. They're putting sensors on the ship to measure wind, waves, and currents in real time.
Don't we have satellites and buoys for that?
We do, but the Southern Ocean is what they call data poor. There just isn't much out there. By using the ship itself as a moving sensor, they fill in the gaps, and all that data gets fed into an AI navigation system.
And the AI does what with it?
It creates these hyper-local route predictions. Think of it like a cyclist drafting behind a truck to save energy. If the AI can find a current that's already going the way the ship wants to go, the captain can steer into it and get essentially a free push.
So it saves fuel.
A significant amount of fuel.
Yeah.
But it also improves safety and comfort. If the AI can predict wave patterns better, it can help the captain find the smoothest path through the Drake Passage.
Less seasickness. That's a win for everybody.
It's a total win-win. And Aurora is planning to roll this tech out to their other ships, too. I honestly think we're looking at what will become the standard for the whole expedition industry.
It really feels like we're seeing the industry mature on all fronts. You've got Royal Caribbean fine-tuning their fleet for specific Alaska experiences. You have Carnival leveraging the power of regional ports like Mobile. And then you have Aurora pushing the definition of what it means to be a responsible operator.
It's the end of the one-size-fits-all approach to cruising. The lines are getting so much smarter about using the right ship to solve a specific problem, whether that problem is, how do I get 4,000 people to see a glacier, or how do I wash jackets without polluting an entire ecosystem?
So for you, the listener, I think the takeaway from the Alaska story is to look past just the word Alaska. Look at the ship. Do you want the round-trip mega resort like Voyager?
Ooh.
Or the one-way scenic explorer like Anthem? The ship really does define the vacation.
Absolutely. And for our listeners on the Gulf Coast, your options just got a whole lot better. You've got a solid year-round choice now that doesn't involve a plane ticket. And for the adventure travelers out there, I think it's time to start asking the hard questions. Ask the cruise lines you sail with about their wastewater systems. Ask about microfibers. Your booking is a vote.
Here's a final thought for you to chew on. We talked about Aurora's ship acting as a real-time sensor, feeding data into an AI. As that network of ships grows and the AI routing gets smarter, could we see the end of the fixed itinerary?
What do you mean by that?
Well, imagine you board a cruise in Miami, and you don't actually know the ports in advance. The captain comes on and says, the AI has found a pocket of perfect weather and calm seas near Turks and Caicos, so that's where we're going today. The ship just hunts for the best possible experience in real time.
That would be a logistical nightmare for the port authorities, but as a passenger who just wants sun and smooth water, I would book that in a second. The Chasing the Sun cruise.
The mystery smooth sailing tour. I like it. Thanks for listening to Cruise News. Visit cruisenews.io to catch up on the latest updates and sign up for free email alerts.